All right. Well, hello everybody.
Yep.
I am streaming to you from
There we go.
transport center of the new Xeon. Um, I'm not going to be in Classic today. I know I always give my keynote from the Classic Theater, but just been too hectic of a day in the last few weeks.
Yeah, keep
Was
talking.
not able to make it all work out. But I want to welcome everybody, um, uh, wherever you're viewing from, Classic, other Xeon, whether it's on YouTube or Twitch. This is a pretty big one, and I'm going to give a different kind of talk today. I just got done with a Twitter space where I was telling people what this discussion with all of you is going to be about today. And there's going to be such a huge amount of alpha information that I'm going to give out. I'm going to share slides this time, so you're not just going to be looking at me. And ultimately, I really want to get into what's happening with our new software with Otherverse Xeon. And this week there are some years where nothing happens, and there's days where years happens. And this today has been one where years happen. So very excited to make a bunch of announcements, including that our token, UTHEX token generation event is happening tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Today, just a few hours ago, we released our public beta of Otherverse Xeon. So for the first time now, you don't need to get on the whitelist, and you don't need to wait for us to go through that. We're now ready to be open to the public. A little bit of an asterisk on that one, however, which is as soon as we announced it, the demand just shot through the roof. The software had not yet propagated to all of the nodes on our content distribution network. So it's taking a little while. I appreciate your patience. It took me, honestly, almost 3 hours to get a download of the software. It will not be like this in the future, and you're going to hear a little bit on the roadmap that I'm going to go through today, just why that's so. But for the first few days of this open public beta, it might be a little bit of a challenge to get in. So maybe get in line, try to do it, let it run for a while, because I know you're going to be impressed. And I guess before I start, I will do sort of some traditional shout outs, but this year they have special meaning. I cannot tell you just how intense the last few weeks, even the last few months have been for everybody on my team. Is not, and so many other people that are, that service us and work around the team. I am grateful for everybody pulling so many long hours. I can sometimes be very harsh about deadlines, and when deadlines get missed or when things aren't done exactly correct, because I know that I've got the team that can knock this out of the park every time. But you've all put up with me being that way, and you've come through in a major way. And I just want to thank. I'm not going to, I was thinking I would name some people, but boy, it's really been everybody on the team. So thank you all, and thank everybody for your patience. And I really want to thank all the sponsors and all of the speakers. This year has really been just a knockout conference, a knockout VirtualCon. So many new people, so many new presenters. It's very exciting that we're doing this Web3 track in Otherverse Xeon.
Exactly.
And you can expect much more, especially now that this update, this beta patch 0.3.6, marks a real landmark change in how development is going to work. So up until now, what you've been seeing is us basically, the analogy that I would like to use is us basically building the operating system. We're building the protocols, we're building the browser, we're building the API network that runs through everything. We're building the core of the social center, the database structures, the global network, right? I mean, I could go on and on. These major pieces were all pulled together for the first time in this public beta patch. And now what you're going to see is all of that, basically the analogy being all of the apps that we've been building that are going to start layering on top of the foundation and the core protocols and infrastructure and all of this. Now, that's not to say that we don't still have core infrastructure that needs to be brought online, optimized, maybe a lot of stuff following the 80-20 rule where we got 80% of it done and it works well enough. And now, we've got to polish that last 20%. But you're going to see development happen a lot more quickly. I'm going to go through that in a timeline today. And I'm also, towards the end of my discussion, I'm going to give you just an unbelievable amount of information and data about the token, our UTHEX token, which is being minted tomorrow. I know a lot of you have waited months or years even, holding on to your UTHEX tokens or your promise for UTHEX tokens. We will have the capability for you to give us your Solana wallet to attach that to whatever mechanism that you use to purchase them if you were in the pre-sale. And we're going to start doing the airdrops, of course, tomorrow. If you are unable to give us your Solana wallet by tomorrow, that's okay. You will be able to go and claim. We're going to have a claims page, so you obviously don't lose anything, right? It's just if you want them right away. I know a lot of people do, and we're going to have that information on our social media channels. So please make sure you're following us, staying up to date, because this week, even up through tomorrow, I mean, it has just been nonstop announcement after announcement after announcement, and we coordinated with our 8th annual VirtualCon. So thank you all for coming. And with all of that said, let me start up some slides. I'll do a little screen share here, and I'm going to make this available after talk as well. If you want to analyze any of the tokenomics, a lot of these slides are just pretty graphics. So I want to start out with an overview of why it is that I believe that Metaverse is the cornerstone, it's the capstone of the internet. It is the central application for what is being called Web3, what all of Web3 is going to engage. And the reason that Metaverse is really the cornerstone of Web3 is because Web3 is all about digital goods, digital services, digital, let's say, currencies. And digital currencies are not native to the physical real world. Digital goods like NFTs, they had a spike and a crash. That's because, yes, you could display them on your phone, but you don't finding true use cases for an NFT in the physical world is challenging. That requires a lot more nuance and a lot more development work to be able to, tokenize real world assets. And we weren't there with the launch of NFTs or the launch of cryptocurrencies. But in the metaverse, everything is digital. And so this is the native home for all kinds of digital projects. Of course, some of the use cases here, as everybody in the classic system knows by heart, but for everybody new who's joining us, I love to talk about social and community. And in fact, it's the right place to start because Metaverse allows for a much more natural kind of social engagement than anything online, anything like a Tinder, anything like an X or a Facebook, let's say an Instagram, where all of it is basically fake. All of it is a mask behind which we can hide. But Metaverse, even though you're putting on an avatar as a persona, you're engaging in a much more natural way with other people. You're not, as everybody in the community knows, you could still be a jerk, but it's a lot less likely. You're a lot more likely to be called to task, just like you would be in the real world. It's a lot more about friendship and a lot more about really getting to know people on a one-on-one or on a group, friends group, than hiding behind just text and pictures and imagery. So, one of the greatest use cases with all of the weddings that we have, all of the dating, just the ability to make friends. You go out to a show, to a club, to just having friends on the social center, and this explodes Metaverse in and of itself. It's a great way to feel satisfaction, feel like you've really gone out and you've done things, and you've been engaging in the community. And of course, this leads to real friendships, real dating, real weddings. And this gives the community an uplifting sense. It gives people a sense of purpose. And it's really important to me that when we start the community in Otherverse Xeon, that we start it with the right people. And these are people who want to be kind and they want to help people out. It's fine to have disagreements and arguments, but the most important thing is that we realize that we are all human and that we all are up sometimes, we're all down sometimes, we're all stressed sometimes, and we could all use a friend sometimes, and everybody could use a real companion, a real life partner sometimes. And if we start out, so when you come in to Otherverse Xeon, please be friendly. Please try to help other people out. And let's do what we did with the classic system. Let's engage with each other and be there to build the community that we all want to live in, because that's really ultimately the purpose of Metaverse, is to have a second home for all of us. Now, of course, Metaverse works for so many other things other than just socialization and community. Shopping is completely disrupted as a business model in Metaverse. I like to talk about shopping in the context often of clothing, and we're going to get into some fashion stuff here presently. But one of the things that you might have heard me talk about is this idea of digital twins. From a clothing standpoint, where you can purchase clothing online, and it stores these clothes in your closet. While we have a closet system in Classic, what you're going to see in Otherverse Xeon is a whole next level closet system. And this is going to also incorporate artificial intelligence ultimately. When you're shopping, you can either buy digital clothes, or you can buy digital clothes with a digital twin of real world clothes. A digital twin of real world clothes means that you will have this clothing in the real world. You've tried it on your avatar, and you will have a real world closet which has a mirror inside the Metaverse. This is great for efficiency and for people like me when I go out and I don't remember what clothes I wore. Or you have trouble deciding what clothes to wear, your AI companion can always tell you, last time you were out, you wore this outfit, and you can ask it. It knows what you've got in your real world closet. So you can say, could you put together an outfit for this group of people for this type of outing? And you're never going to have clothes in the back of your closet that you can't use, that you forget about. And it can make life a lot easier, but it can also make shopping a lot better. I can say, do these shoes match these slacks? The shoes that I bought a few weeks ago that, are in my digital closet. Or she might say, does this skirt, I want to wear these shoes, or this top with the skirt. Of course, we're going to be talking a lot about UTHX in this presentation, and UTHX is the primary token. So for those of you familiar with Classic, UTHX is now a cryptocurrency, so it's the evolution of Raise. You all know how valuable rays are, how important it is to the economy, and how important it is for the smooth operation of Otherverse. Uthex is going to be a whole next level of this. So we've taken cryptocurrency, we've really, really refined it in a way that no other project has ever done. And we're going to talk a lot more about it. But of course, as a clothing designer, you're going to earn in Uthex. As a purchaser of clothing, you're going to want to have Uthex to spend to be able to purchase clothes, purchase other merchandise, purchase tickets, and I guess I'll talk about those types of things. So for the clothing designers here, it's really nice. We've got these photorealistic avatars. We've got the ability for them to walk with motion capture walk. Realistic hair, eyes, skins, tattoos, piercings, all of this. So whatever clothing you've been putting together in classic or for new fashion designers or clothing designers to be able to put on fashion shows, another fantastic use case, of course, for Metaverse. We do it all the time. We've been screening films already in the closed beta for Otherverse Xeon, music festivals. I'm excited for you all to see the glow sticks and the magic wands and all of the exciting sort of rave pieces that we've got in our beta. That make, for the pyrotechnics, for, if you're a DJ, if you're a band, if you want to see a DJ or a band, if you're an independent filmmaker, and of course you can make films, you can also live DJ inside the world using new tools, because Otherverse Xeon has the capability of actually having a mixing board right in the software, so you can upload and do DJ. And this is one of my favorites. So everybody who thought being an influencer in Web 2 was a lucrative business opportunity, being an influencer here in Metaverse is absolutely going to take the cake. We are making available to you various types of rooms and regions for podcasts, for what I think is the evolution of spaces. So we went from Clubhouse and Telegram kind of chat interactions, and then Twitter Spaces and X Spaces that have evolved quite a bit, but still don't have this full audience-to-audience engagement, ability for audience members to have discussions, private messages, to meet each other properly, and for audience to engage with panelists, and for panelists to engage with one another, all the while being able to do presentations like this one, and of course much more. We can have multiple screens, doing multimedia presentations. The capability to become an influencer is off the chain here. It's really the evolution, and I am expecting, and we've been reaching out now to try to bring in influencers that want to put on shows. So, some of the shows that I have in mind, for example, one of them I've named Irreverent X, and I'm still looking for the proper host for this, although I have a couple of people in mind, where it's a weekly show, and on the screens go some of the viral and most important posts and tweets on that platform, and a discussion which involves panelists. This could be politics, this could be humor, and then engaging with the audience, maybe bringing audience members up to become panelists, and then letting them take their place again in the audience. But when you consider the audience-to-audience engagement and the ability to private message back and forth, and then to make friends and to find like-minded people, shows like this are going to create the next generation of superstardom, and we're really excited now to be able to start offering this. I think in the October patch, when we upgrade, there's going to be the ability for anybody to come in and reserve space. So if you want this podcast room or this presentation room, you reserve it for an hour, and that then you've got control over the screens, and you're basically the moderator, the host. So start keeping that in mind if you want to put on shows, if you want to do activities. All of this, of course, is going to become available to users. And, as the tip of that spear, I would love to see this group of listeners become established as the premium influencers in the next generation of the web. So I talked a little bit about October. Man, I'm jamming. We have a fun patch coming out in October. So we were a little late getting this patch out. You can imagine just how difficult it was to pull all of these systems, really multiple years of work that ultimately all needed to fit together properly. So a couple of days later than I wanted to get it out, but still in plenty of time. October is going to be a really fun patch. Of course, we got Halloween, so there's all kinds of new skins, all kinds of new possessions, items, objects that you can earn by engaging with the haunted house and the mazes and all kinds of new games and treasure hunts that are going to happen. In October is really when we're bringing live our event system. So the event system, this is what I'm talking about being able to reserve things, but it's also where we can allow you to collect things in a treasure hunt. And then once you've collected all of the items, or once you've gone to all of the places or solved the maze, right, that these things can attach to your account. This is when you're going to be able to start earning credits towards our airdrops of the token. And we're planning to airdrop billions of dollars worth of tokens to the community over the next few years in our airdrop system called the New User Strategic Reserve. I'll talk about that later. October is where you're really going to be able to start the quest of earning points towards that and earning these kinds of items and possessions, Halloween avatar skins. You will not only be able to reserve space in the podcast rooms and the discussion rooms, but I'm looking for, we're going to be putting on comedy shows where we're booking comedians, music acts. Obviously you'll be able to book, and when I say book, basically reserve for your event, the regions which we have assembled and the screens that we've assembled. So ultimately, this is going to be our first real step in Otherverse Xeon towards user-generated content. And what I'm calling for is let's have activities 24 hours a day. Now that we're open to the public, we can have thousands, hundreds of thousands of users online. And if there's stuff for them to do, people for them to meet, in addition to obviously the social center and our social media platform, that's going to make this more fun and engaging for everybody. Let's see. November, of course, being a really exciting month for our patch. And you hear me now talking about monthly patches. I can talk about monthly patches now because we have laid the foundation. So we're no longer completely building the operating system. We're now building the apps, and the apps that sit on top, that goes a lot faster. They've got the infrastructure to be able to deliver. So November, I'm hoping, now keep in mind, I'm infamous for overpromising here on timelines, and I like to present our sort of best case scenario. But for any of the developers that are listening to this, of course, I'm anticipating that we will all work as diligently as possible to hit these milestones, but take it with a grain of salt, I guess. I hope that people in the theater are laughing. I'll say it's going to take us 2 weeks. But in November, I am anticipating having the in-world UTHEX system becoming operational. What this is going to mean is the UTHEX token, I said, is a very advanced type of cryptocurrency token. UTHEX lives on the Solana blockchain. That turns out to be a really good decision based on all of the work I've been doing with Solana right now. To get the token minting tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. It's going to be is our token generation event. And with Solana, I was actually able to do it and schedule it so that literally at 10 a.m. Pacific time, the tokens will be saleable for the first time on decentralized exchanges, particularly the Jupiter exchange. And that's where I'm putting liquidity. The in-world UTHEX system is not a the way the in-world UTHEX system. I'll give you a brief overview of how that works. It's much more elaborate than this, but for simplicity's sake, users will be able to take UTHEX from the blockchain, from the Web3 layer. You will move it through an access control layer into your account inside our metaverse. Now, what's really happening is that UTHEX is going to go into a custodial account, and you're going to be given an account that is going to have what we call WUTHEX, which stands for World UTHEX, not Wrapped UTHEX, although they're similar concepts. The in-world wallet that you have, you're going to be able to use that immediately to transfer UTHEX between users, to buy things from the system, or you will be able to receive, like play to earn, you'll be able to receive UTHEX from the system into that account. There are so many advantages to having an off-chain internal transaction system for a token. The cost is basically zero for it, but it also allows for more protections against fraud. It allows for reversible transactions. So in the event that you want to do something like, you're going to hire a DJ, if they don't show up for the event, if you've paid on the blockchain, that the tokens are gone. But if you've paid in world using our internal transaction system, those can be reversed. And of course, once everything is settled, you can move them from the in world system back out to the blockchain, back up through the access control layer. And at that point, it's out of our custodial wallet, it's in your account. I apologize to people who aren't familiar with Web3 if that sounded very confusing. The way that I would analogize it is the in-world system is going to be just like Raise. It's all going to operate essentially the same. It's going to be controlled by either a two-factor authentication or a PIN number, depending on the amount of UTHEX in the account. And if you want to have this taken out of the system, you won't be cashing them out for fiat. You'll just move them out into an external wallet, and then you can do with it, then it can be converted. So hopefully that makes that clear. But very exciting, because this is when UTHEX suddenly stands up on its own and has its intrinsic value, because it becomes necessary for all kinds of things in the world. This is where UTHEX, you'll be able to upgrade to VIP, and you'll be able to purchase clothing and all of the fun things that you do in Metaverse. And then December, we have our first sovereign. So the way that the sovereign system works in Otherverse Xeon, this is a system where I should explain that Xeon is the name of the browser. It's the Metaverse browser. You use the Xeon Metaverse browser in the same way that you use a web browser. You can surf from one metaverse to another metaverse, or from one region in a metaverse to another region in the metaverse. This uses a domain name system, and it's very familiar. Xeon is so easy to use. It's designed just to be a trivial, no learning curve. When third parties want to build their own metaverse on our system, what they're building using our tools, they're building what we call a sovereign, and we call it that because it's largely decentralized. Sovereigns have their own rule sets. They can change the user interface. They can change the user experience. They can change so many things about what's allowed. And they have a huge amount of autonomy. The autonomy that they don't have are things like, they cannot defraud, right? So our internal transaction system is not going to permit, fraudulent transactions or phishing transactions. But generally, they will be able to block things like, if it's a church, you're not going to be able to enter this sovereign wearing, a bikini, for example, right? So you'll have controls over that. They will be able to have their own avatars. So if you want an anime world, you do that as a sovereign. They can control things like gravity or physics or, so many different things. But the first sovereign, of course, is going to be redlightcenter.io, which is our nightlife, neon, party and rave. Let's now that the UTHEX system was built in November, you're going to be able to tip your dancers at the club. You're going to be able to explore all of the fun nightlife as you would in any kind of really adventurous city. And of course, you do all this safely from the safety of your avatar. So, in the event that you're wondering just why it is that we spent so much time making sure that our avatars look perfectly and completely anatomically correct, boy oh boy, you're going to have a lot of fun in Red Light Center. I would say I've seen what's coming out in Grand Theft Auto and GTA 6. So much more fun when these are all real people, when the avatars look so much better. I don't know, a little bit of virtual weed or Molly. Lots and lots of virtual entertainment that you're not going to find in, Facebook Horizon World. And why, if you're not appealing to, if you can't have hip hop artists come in and, have their backup dancers and your metaverse is never going to be competitive. So I'm very excited about December. And of course, I'm belaboring the Red Light Center because it's the first sovereign, but also in December, we're going to have an awful lot of holiday cheer and festivities in other Versailles in our primary metaverse. So it'll all be decked out for the holidays. And there will be more quests and more opportunities to earn. Let's see where we go. So now I think we're gonna transition here a little bit, and I'm going to start discussing how it is that we manage the economy here. So we've talked about UTHEX. I've talked about the World UTHEX. People have had a lot of questions about the tokenomics and how we manage the economy. I don't really have enough time to discuss all of these details, but I do want to give one glaring example for one way that we manage the UTHEX token value. So the intention here, Other Versailles is free right now. It's free to download. It's free to play. And I suggest that everybody, download it and see what all the hype is about. Of course, it's going to continue to update and improve over the next couple of weeks. There are going to be massive improvements as we lead up to the October patch. But at some point in December, likely, we are going to add in the VIP feature. And this VIP feature will give users access to a whole range of additional value. So, for example, VIP users, you get an upgraded name tag, you get the ability to have multiple accounts, you have the ability to unlock different clothing slots, meaning makeup, piercings, different hairstyles, different accessories. You have the ability to, you don't have the limited closet that is available for basic users. You have the upgraded capability of wearing any kind of clothes, any kind of avatars that are available in the system. You have the ability to go to VIP only regions. Basically, the red light center sovereign, for example, is going to be VIP only.
Yep.
And typically in the classic system, we charge $20 a month for the basic VIP package. That $20 a month can be paid using a credit card or fiat. But if you're purchasing VIP using the UTHEX token, you're going to get a discount. So in this example here, $20 implies if we're giving you VIP for 50 UTHEX, it implies that UTHEX is worth 40 cents per token. If UTHEX is trading on the exchange at 20 cents, a savvy user will not give us $20 in fiat. They will go to the exchange and purchase their 50 UTHEX, and that will cost them only $10. They may want to buy multiple months of VIP at that. So, now they've got a few months of VIP. They don't have to worry about paying $20 in fiat, and they've got it at half off. This naturally will remove UTHEX tokens from the exchange, leading to a supply crunch until UTHEX stabilizes at least at a value of 40 cents. Now, in my experience, having done this with Raise, we always see that the Raise tokens trade above the cost of VIP when we've done that. So, UTHEX might be trading at 50 cents at this point or $1, depending on the other economic forces at play. As UTHEX moves up towards this 40 cents, though, we can manage this economy to say, well, we still want to give a 50% discount. So once UTHEX is worth 40 cents, we're now going to make it only 25 cents to buy VIP, only 25 UTHEX to buy VIP. And that would infer a value to UTHEX of 80 cents. And as we continue to manage the economy this way, this is just one example. This was, I outlined this in a patent that I filed a long time ago, which I called the digital gold standard. And the concept of a digital gold standard was you tag a digital fixed value item to a digital currency. And in that way, the digital currency always has this intrinsic value. And although I wasn't able to get the patent because the patent office changed their rules around financial instruments around that time, I'm still nevertheless able to put this into practice here as a way of managing the economy for other Versailles. So doing this with not only VIP, but hundreds of other items that are available within the economy of the metaverse is one arrow that we've got in our quiver of management, where you can see UTHEX is not just a meme coin. It's not just a one-trick pony token. UTHEX is the central token that everybody's going to need. Everybody's going to need it in bulk. And as the community size grows faster than the UTHEX supply, and UTHEX supply, of course, is permanently fixed. It will never exceed the threshold maximum amount. The supply and demand come into play. All right. So I know I've talked about these things previously, but now I'm going to talk about them in the context of UTHEX. So what else? What are the other use cases for UTHEX? I say, it's a massive economy. Well, we've been building a yacht for a client, and access to the yacht. Obviously, the yacht is a digital good. Access to the yacht is restricted, and tickets to the yacht, or to purchase your own yacht, or to purchase the helicopter on the yacht, or your own private plane, limo. This will all happen transacting in UTHEX. Buying clothing, and really this makes the economy go around because we are putting the starter kit together for clothing.
I don't know.
But it's fashion designers throughout the community that are going to really be building all of the new clothes. And the fashion designers will either rent stores, they'll put the clothes on catalogs, and interested people will pay UTHEX, which will go to the clothing designer primarily. We also take a royalty, and that royalty
Put in line.
sinks UTHEX out of the general supply and back into Treasury. So you can think of these as the economy spins around. We're taking our profit in UTHEX, and that removes it from the economy almost in the same way as burning it would take it back. I just threw in here like glow sticks and wands because I know those are fun, even though, you know, probably by and large not charging people to have glow sticks and wands. They're just too much fun to include as virtual goods because, man, I love running around a rave with my glow sticks. And yacht, by the way. I also love having a yacht, which I don't.
You're right. I noticed that now. Yeah.
At least virtually, I'll have a yacht. You know, I do have to say, I a little bit miss and regret now that I wasn't doing this in World because it sounds like I'm just giving a lecture. And when I, every other year when I've done this in front of the audience, I'm seeing your feedback and I can see people saying LOL or something. I know if my joke landed. I am going to imagine that you're all going, oh, that was so funny. Virtual services, of course. Next year, I'm definitely going back. Today was just a little too busy. Virtual services. I mean, you know, we've talked about this, but of course, if you're, you know, we do so many weddings, right? So, you know, getting a justice of the peace, getting your wedding license, renting the venue, your wedding planner, your DJ, you know, all of these things. The weddings are such a great example of virtual services that I love to use it. The matchmaker who introduced you, the you know, even just getting tickets to virtual events, you know, renting the karaoke club for a private party, you know, any of these virtual services, it all makes the world go round. And it's all powered ultimately by UTHEX. Now, I should say, if you've got your own sovereign, if you have a project, UTHEX is not an exclusive token inside the Xeon platform. UTHEX is a primary token to interact with on a low-level protocol way, user-to-user transactions, user-to-system transactions, system-to-user transactions. But if you've got your own project, if you've got your own other sovereign, you will, of course, be able to use that token inside that sovereign for your own purposes, virtual services, virtual goods, tickets, this type of thing. So the longer term plan, of course, is to bring in all Web3 projects. All Web3 projects should have a metaverse built on our platform because it's so easy to do and it's such a powerful tool. And we don't want to usurp your capability of having your own NFTs or your own cryptocurrencies. So, you know, depending on the needs of the project, I guess I want to make sure that that's clear, that we're not trying to monopolize this. It's just, you know, this is the primary token for our metaverse and our system. And speaking of system, of course, engaging with the system is a primary way where we sink UTHEX out of the economy and take it as our profit. And this could be everything from renting doors in the main plaza, renting advertising space, renting transport pods, getting your own domain name on our authoritative VWW protocol. System purchases really run a huge gamut. You can create your own metaverse. You could create your own, even as a private person, you may want to have a digital twin of your home, or you may want to have, you know, a penthouse if you didn't get one in your NFT purchase. And picking those out of a catalog, decoing those, and getting them live on the system, all can be considered system purchases. Other ideas behind system purchases, one that I love to talk about is the way that we address spam on our system. So, of course, as part of our metaverse offering, we have a full suite social network that is a Web2 social system, a Web2 social network and platform. You can access this easily by right-clicking an avatar on the system, and you can see their profile, and you can get engagement with them. We like to incentivize people to fill out that profile, to make that profile more elaborate. So we pay people some UTHEX when you set up your own profile, and when you upload a picture, and when you view other people's profiles. But if you want to contact somebody with whom you do not have an existing relationship, meaning you're not already agreed as friends that you can freely message each other, we charge some UTHEX. And we do that, it's a small amount, but you need to pay that into the system. And this is a spam prevention tool. Nobody has a problem paying a few pennies to be able to reach out and contact somebody that they met in the world, and they saw their profile and they want to send them an offline message or a friend request. But to do that to 1 million users or 10 million users starts to become very expensive. So we found that this has essentially eradicated spam on our classic system, and it's a great example of a small sort of microtransaction system purchase that serves a real use. It generates a little bit of revenue, pulling UTHEX out of the economy, and it acts as a spam prevention tool. And then, of course, the opposite is true, what I was just talking about, the play to earn. So we want to encourage certain behavior in the metaverse and on the social network, on the social system. And in order to do that, we pay out UTHEX, and we can do this on a daily basis. So anybody who's played Classic knows it's a lot of fun to surf around, to log into the platform, and you get little rewards along the way in terms of raise. And the same is true for Otherverse Xeon, where when you log in to the metaverse, you will receive a small amount of UTHEX. When you upload your first photos, when you do activities like maybe explore regions, make your first friend requests, various things that where I guess I could step back and I could say the whole purpose of a play to earn is we don't want to be excluding anybody here. And we really want everybody to be able to engage with each other, engage with the system, have a little bit of scratch here to be able to spend. And at the same time, we can earn revenue from your activities here. So on a profile, we may, they hardly even appear as ads, but if there's an event that's happening in the world, some Otherverse sovereign or some entity is paying us some UTHEX to run this promotion for their event. And you're seeing that promotion, so we earn a little bit of UTHEX from the advertiser, and we want to apportion some of that back to the community. So it's a way of where it's not costing the company, it's not taking funds out of the treasury, it still acts as a sink for UTHEX, which manages the value of the token, designed to continually bring the value of the token higher, but also rewards the users without us needing to do this shady shit that social media companies do, which is track your activity, which we're not going to do, sell data, which is pretty repulsive to me. I mean, if you want to give us data so that you can specifically say, these are the things that I want to see, great, but I'm not going to turn around and sell it. And I'm not going to try to mine it, because that's just, I don't know. You are not the product. And you should never be the product. That was not in my speech, sorry, my little rant. But now let's get to some really exciting stuff, which is the tokenomics, and this is stuff which I think I'm going to share this presentation after I'm done with the speech, so that you can all see really what we're talking about here. I wanted to give these final tokenomics now that we finally, everything is set, and the token generation event is tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Pacific. So this is the token generation event tokenomics. This means that as of tomorrow, these are the tokens which will exist. These are the sum total of tokens which will have been minted tomorrow. And there will be a mint of new tokens every month until the total number of tokens ultimately reaches 3 billion, which will be beyond 5 years from now. The total number of unlocked tokens in total as of tomorrow is 21 million. I don't know if anybody knows any other token with 21 million. But let's just say I'm a big fan of that number, and it's not entirely a coincidence that's, oh shoot, 1 second here. That it's not entirely a coincidence that that number is 21 million. Let's go through the tokenomics here. In the pre-sale, we sold 2.9 million tokens. In funding rounds, we sold 3 million. We sold 7 million in packages, which included VIP and other package sales. Strategic partners, 1 million. Advisors, 1 million. The team allocation, 1.1 million. Liquidity provision. So, I told you I put liquidity up on Jupiter, but I did not put the entire amount. In fact, I put just a little bit of that, 1.5 million. And then in the foundation and treasury, sort of a just in case of emergency, there's 3.5 million. Total number of tokens possibly available is 21 million. However, most of these are not actually available tomorrow. For example, the team allocation, these are not unlocked tomorrow. The advisors not really unlocked. The strategic partners also. And of course, the pre-sale and funding rounds, generally these have 12-month unlock schedules, right? 12 or 18, well, 12-month, I guess, unlock schedules. So just 1/12 of these become available, basically. So we're going to see, if you take the sum total of this, the 21 million, our fully diluted market cap, based on the last sales round, which was our launchpad round, puts us at below 1.5 million in total market cap. Now, I said this on my Twitter Spaces about an hour ago, but when it comes to doing your own research on a project, I really suggest everybody downloads if you can. If you can get the software through the pipe, download other Versaon and try it out for yourself, and you're going to see that everything I'm saying. I think you'll get the vision. You'll get all of the work and the value of the product. This is a multi-billion-dollar piece of software that we're releasing, that we released today. We're pricing the token here at 1.5 million. So I'm really hopeful and expecting that we're going to have an enormous amount of upside here, especially with what you just heard about how the economy is going to be managed. And so now I want to show you what this is going to look like after 12 months after the token generation event. So basically 13 months from now. The total available from the pre-sale will be 22.3 million. Total available from the funding rounds at 36 million. You can see the total availability of what's being minted here. Strategic partners 16.9, the team 19.5, advisors 16.9. And really the important ones that I want to highlight here are the liquidity here at 13.5, and the staking amount here at just over 7.3. We have a category in here for intellectual property. Now, of course, we've developed 85 of our own patents that have been issued, but we allocate some tokens to be able to acquire and do deals to license any outstanding intellectual property, so that we can always make sure that our metaverse is the absolute premier metaverse. But if you take this entire amount, TGE plus 12-month tokenomics, most of these, again, are not going to be available for sale. these numbers imagine enormous growth of the platform into the tens of millions of users daily active. So if there are tens of millions of daily active users, you can imagine that these numbers are trivial. There's just a handful of tokens even per user, even if we were to get all of these out into circulation. But the reality is most of these are not going to be available in circulation. Most of these are going to be sequestered in a variety of wallets or lockups. But even if all of them are available, we're still looking at a total market value based on the Launchpad round that's in the ballpark. I guess I didn't do the math on that slide. Let's see. Year one, 193 million. So we're still at around a $15 million market, fully diluted market cap as of the end of year one. Because keep in mind, we are on Solana with our smart contract. We can't mint more than these, and the tokens only mint on a monthly basis. So this is the total the sum total that will be minted as of the end of year one plus TGE. Geez, I wish I could see some chat feedback here to make sure that I'm not just talking over people's heads. Ken, maybe shoot me a note if if I'm going off and people are confused. I'm happy to try to clarify. But so let's look at the cumulative yearly tokens for unlock, and you can see how these tokenomics really are just designed to blow this token up to the moon. Okay, well, I will need to clarify for some people. Sorry about that. So let me step back and say, unlike Raise, there is no cap on how many Raise could possibly be minted or could possibly circulate. We issued Raise before Bitcoin was invented, and so I didn't have the opportunity to do a comparison and realize that having a total fixed supply is just this genius concept. So unlike Raise, where we've kept it stable at between 7 and 8 cents for more than a decade, with UTHEX, the idea is to create a token which continually increases in value over time. And in order to do that, we've permanently capped the total supply that could ever be minted at 3 billion tokens. But in furtherance of that, we're capping the total amount that can ever be minted in a given year and can ever be minted in a given month. And that's all memorialized in smart contracts now that are part of these tokenomics. So I hope that gives a little bit of a flavor of what's different between Raise, where if the price is going up too fast, I can just add more to the economy. If the price is dropping, I can take them out of the economy in an unlimited way. With UTHEX, there's a maximum supply that I could ever add to the economy. I mean, and since I don't control most of these, I couldn't add them anyway. But I could feed some into the economy. You know, I mean, if the token is suddenly $60,000 a token, it starts to, be a little bit cost prohibitive. We probably want to, cool the jets there. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves. But the total flexibility that could conceivably be had is under 200 million tokens in year one. And in year two, it's under 640 million tokens. And that may sound like a lot, but it's not. It's really not a lot of tokens. So here you can see the total growth in tokens. This is cumulative. So after 5 years, we're just under 2.5 billion. And then year 6 and beyond, we will ultimately have 3 billion tokens. And then this is, this is an important piece for me to sort of end this part of the discussion with. Staking rewards. So I know there's a lot of demand for the token. We had to turn off the pre-sales because we were running out of pre-sale tokens to sell. And also we needed a few days in order to get everything squared away to be able to go up on the decentralized exchanges. But in the next week or two, we're going to be introducing the staking rewards on the smart contract. Staking rewards will benefit people who want to deposit their UTHEX so that they cannot be used in the economy. They're basically taken out of circulation for a locked period of time. If you want to stake your UTHEX, you're not going to use them for 72 hours. You can earn 6% annual percentage yield. If you want to stake them for 90 days, you get 7%. 6 months is 8%. 1 year, you get 10%. And 2 years, you can get 18% annual percentage yield. So, you stake 1,000 tokens, and in 1 year, you get 1,100 here that get unlocked for you. So a great way to make sure that you've got a token supply for your lifetime in the Otherverse. And then the head of NextWeb3, Peter, had a great enhancement to our staking rewards program. So shout out to Peter. That because the staking isn't starting immediately, we're working on that smart contract right now. The idea is if you have purchased tokens in a pre-sale, or if you purchase them from a decentralized exchange, and you don't sell any of them before you stake, that you add an extra 2% to your staking rewards. So when you get your airdrop tomorrow, if you hold on to those until the smart contract for staking happens and you don't sell any of those tokens, we check the blockchain transaction logs, and kaboom, there's 2% that's added to the staking rewards on the APR. So that in that case, these annual percentage yields go up to those numbers. And I'm going to share all of this, and I'll be answering questions, I'm sure, for the next few days on how all of this works. Another important thing to note here, so let's see if that worked. Yes, there we are. Another important thing to note is on our front page at otherverse.io, you will be able to find a download link for Otherverse Xeon. And you will also, as of tomorrow morning, there will be a couple of videos to help walk you through how to purchase UTHEX tokens. So we've got a video there for how to get a cryptocurrency wallet. You're going to want to get the Phantom wallet for this purpose, and then how to interact with the Jupiter Exchange using the Phantom wallet so that you can easily purchase these tokens. So I know, this is confusing for a lot of people. It's your first experience getting tokens for a lot of people. We're introducing a huge number of Web2 people who have never engaged with cryptocurrency before. You're going to need to trust me. This is going to be hugely important over time as tokens and cryptocurrency really start to become dominant in the economy, not just for us. So it's going to be a valuable education for you anyway to get integrated into Web3. We're going to be holding all kinds of seminars and educational tutorials in World, both in Classic and in Otherverse Xeon, to help guide you through, because I really want to make sure that everybody is set up, especially people that have been with me for a long time. I'm so grateful to everybody in the community and for God, your patience on so many things and your support on so many things. I want to make sure that we make this as simple as possible. Web3 can be quite confusing, but I think that what we've done with it here really brings that down, brings it into bite-sized chunks, and allows you to integrate here with the minimum amount of pain. But you can check our website, otherverse.io. As I say, in the morning, those videos will be live once the token has been minted. I'm also hoping that I can distribute today, maybe it's already done, the information for anybody who purchased the UTHEX tokens using anything other than Solana. We're going to have a page for you where you can give us your Solana wallet. And that, again, is going to be a Phantom wallet that you're going to want to attach to that account. But we'll get that information out to you. Ken, I ran a little bit over. I think maybe you're giving me a signal. You're muted though. Well, all right. Let me just say thank you again to everybody. Thank you again for our sponsor. I see what's happening. Well, you know what? It is the next speaker's turn. I've monopolized all of this for long enough. So thank you, everybody. Enjoy the rest of the conference. I hope you've enjoyed it so far. Watch any of these talks, panels, and whatnot. We're going to, we have them all recorded. So, yeah, fantastic. It's exciting times. I guess I'll sign off.
Yeah.
All right. And
there he goes. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, we've kind of gone overtime, just everything else and all, but yeah. As you see, get a lot of information, just namely about the new world, but here and there he did talk about Classic. Note he's not getting rid of Classic. Classic is still going to be around. But yeah, as you kind of say, he is hoping that, by Christmas time, we'll finally get the final pieces put in. So next year, next year the world will actually be live. So, yep, alright.